this qualifier season without having been able to take home a qualifier title. They've got themselves a spot in the promotion tournament, but fighting for seeding always going to be important. And that first seed goes to whoever wins this tournament. And that is going to be Winthrop's goal here. But I got to be honest. I mean, Winthrop University, they're my pick to promote into NACL through the promotion tournament, or at least one of my 2 picks, at least by default. That could change based on their performance here tonight. You know, there's still some more games to be played before promotion tournament. But CCG pre-tournament were my pick to win this whole open qualifier. So there's definitely, I feel like whoever wins this is going to be my favorite for the finals one way or the other. And this CCG squad, it's just so stacked to the brim with NACL level talent that it would be a shame to see them drop out here and not make the promotion tournament. So I don't know who's going to win, and it's going to be a banger either way.
Exactly. We don't know who is going to come up ahead of the other, but the important part is that I'm expecting to see a full-out banger here. These are 2 teams that, like you're mentioning, have great expectations, maybe one more desperation on one side than the other, but at the end, the purpose of both of these teams is the same. Win today, go to the grand finals, and shut up everyone that doubts you with a win in the grand finals. Now, talking a bit more specifically about Winthrop, I want to follow up on that point with not taking away any victory in just the regular OQs. And I feel particularly with the fact that they've been so many times that they reached that game 5 last moment and they miss out just by a tiny bit. Like, they've been really consistent with how they've been playing and how many times they try, but it's been a couple of times where they reach the game 5 and they miss out just by a tiny bit. The only time that they've been able to pull off, it's funnily enough in the ACL when they were able to win the grand finals in a 5 game as well, being able to finally go over it. But it feels like there's times that they are able to pull it off, and there's times where it comes a little bit harder for them. And I want to see if they can overcome that with the OQ title. Like you're mentioning, it's kind of a curse at this point that they are not able to go over. And they need to try and pull that sort of thing out of their heads, because that can end up impacting the promotion tournament if they fall into a game 5 situation and they have that gripe on their backs.
Yeah, I mean, it's been said. I've seen the Twitter takes already, TDS, that, you know, could be considered chokers, can't close it out, can't make it over that last hump, and that could be something that continues to proliferate if they're not able to take it up against CCG here, if they're not able to take this first tournament, and that's going to follow them to the promotion tournament. We're going to do an episode of the Salt Mine with our boys Slayer and Bonfire on this promotion tournament at some point or another.
Exactly.
And if Winthrop drops here, it's going to come up. I mean, I'm going to promise you that right now. People are going to be talking about how Winthrop have not been able to win one of these OQ tournaments and say, hey, if you can't win that, how are you going to win a tournament where it's going to be the top teams from these OQs and the bottom teams from the NACL? It's going to be a massive question mark. Not to say it's impossible, but going to be something that everybody is discussing. Meanwhile, on the CCG side, I mean, this is a roster that wasn't even really together for OQ1. They had bits and pieces here and there, but the additions of Yukino and Bradley at the start of this season have been absolutely crazy for them, and they are poised, I think, to be an absolutely dominant team here. If they're able to take a win in this match and get themselves to finals, they're going to be my pick to win. And they've got so much wonderful up-and-coming talent on this squad. The most notable, I think, of which is going to be Bradley in the mid lane, role swapping his way back over after a couple of years in top lane with Team Liquid Academy, and he has just been putting on a clinic against all these other OQ mid laners.
And precisely that, the addition of both Bradley and Yukino comes because of the fact that CCG didn't do that well in the previous tournament, in the previous OQ. So they are in the need. That's why we bring up so much the fact that they are the ones in need to win here. They are the desperate ones. They need to win today's matchup, because that's the difference between making promotion and not making promotion. Winthrop, obviously, it comes more on the mental side than anything else, but CCG is more tangible. It's actually being able to qualify, and this is where the additions need to appear. Yukino and Bradley, like you're mentioning, 2 players that have a great backpack for them, kind of, in the sense that we know what to expect from them, we know their capabilities, and we know that they can be great game changers, but they need to appear for CCG today. All of that matters only if you end up winning this series. If not, we are going to bring up the maybe not in the promotion tournament episode, but more than likely in the coming episode about their failure not being able to qualify. So it's crucial for them to be able to showcase themselves here, and for the rest of CCG to also make it easier on them to try and carry it out. That's why this game is more hype, considering all the stakes that are coming through from both of these teams. Obviously, the other semifinal is going to be exciting as well, but the fact that we still have one team that is not yet qualified compared to the other side, it's going to make it even better.
Yeah, it's the team that's destined to make NACL. It feels like in Winthrop University, with how dominant they've been at this level for the last year or so and change, coming up against the team that is built out of NACL talent, right? 4 players on this CCG roster have played in the NACL before. They have been on starting NACL rosters. And then there's Crimson up in the top lane, who wants to be able to follow in the footsteps of his brothers, who wants to be able to take it to the next level, compete in Tier 2, compete in Tier 1. And it's going to have to start with a win here that gets you into promotion territory for the NACL.
It's all on today's matchup, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to go. As soon as we get in, we're going to get the first glimpse into it. And importantly, I want to check out on some of the matchups, trying to look forward into the series, right? There's star talent pretty much everywhere, but I want to focus on 2 places particularly. One is in the mid lane, because obviously Bradley is kind of the focal point of the CCG newer roster, the newer change. The fact that you're able to bring this great player that has been touted multiple times in the NACL, and now, even though he did role swap, he's still playing to a great level, and he needs to be one of the ones stepping up, right? And then on the other side, I want to go focus into the AD carries particularly. Mobility, one of the more touted AD carries in the not only NACLQ background, obviously in the CLO as well, but one of those AD carries that people have a lot of expectations moving forward, and he's going to be one of the big members that needs to step up from Winthrop to try and carry them through the semifinals. But also Instinct, because he is one of the players that maybe goes under the radar, but like you point out, he has had academy pass. He has played in multiple rosters that do have quite a bit of, at the very least, some pedigree. So going to be an interesting bot lane matchup, and I want to see how this whoever can get the lead in the bot lane, how they are going to make that sort of thing work out for their team.
Yeah, I mean, Instinct's got LCS experience, right? There was that period of time on TSM where they were swapping between Neo and Instinct at AD carry, series to series, game to game, and it was a massive part of their strategy that allowed them to kind of overperform their seed during that time. And unfortunately for Instinct, since then, it's kind of been a bit of a free fall, has not been able to find that same success after the Academy, or even after that split, dropping out of Academy entirely, playing with Fly Fam during the inaugural NACL split, and then finding himself relegated and entirely out of the NACL the following split. Has not been able to make his way back up there soon, has not made too many distinct efforts to do so either, up until this split with joining up with CCG Esports and seeing if he can make it through promotions the hard way. So far, been doing a pretty solid job of it, at least in this run, through the Swiss stage and through the GSL stage. But now in the semifinals, this is the final hurdle that will get you into that promotion tournament, win or lose, come the finals tomorrow. Have to see if he's going to be able to do it here. Meanwhile, Winthrop University, I mean, these guys have tried and failed previously. They want to be able to make their run back, and it looks like we are ready to start off the draft here. Winthrop going to be on the blue side for game number 1. CCG going to be on the red. Let's get into a little bit more specifics about this matchup, TDS. I think the big concern in my mind for CCG has been that early game. They were struggling in the early game up against Team Fish Taco for sure, or sorry, up against Ole Miss, who was their quarterfinals opponent, and they were able to come back through superior team fighting. Question is, will Winthrop give you those kinds of openings when they've been so experienced playing out these early games together?
Well, they've had a while to work out on those early games, so certainly they are going to have a bit of the upper hand there. CCG does have great team fighting, which is one of the main things that we kind of look forward to when watching what CCG is capable of doing, and a lot of that comes off the back of Bradley just playing team fights to such a good level, and then being able to follow up with Instinct and also Crimson, which goes a bit, or not goes a bit uncalled for, but certainly does not get the praise that I think he probably deserved. So going to be important to see how much does the early game affect CCG, like you're pointing out. Looking at the bans quickly, a lot of focus towards the ball, and it looks like with the Lucian, the Varus, and the Karma ban. And then interestingly, the Azel taking away from Bradley. I love the champion. Sadly, we're not going to see it here, but importantly, with some of the nerfs that happen, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get a lot of Smolder, even if it's not banned away. Probably not going to be seeing a lot of it. He still works, but it's not to the same degree.
Yeah, it's not the fully kind of neutered Smolder that is on the current patch. We still are on 14.5, but it is nerfed versus its stronger period for sure, and that's going to mean there's not quite as many places where that champion is the best possible in slot. And I have to find out how exactly they intend to try to navigate that pick in these upcoming drafts. But the Senna is still busted one way or the other, so they're going to be happy to snap that up first for Winthrop if given the opportunity. 3 bot lane bans, but none of them on the Senna. That's going to be the first game selection here for mobility.
That was a lot of focus they want towards the bot lane. The Ashe to close out the bans, and then the Senna pick here. Like you're pointing out, Senna still so strong that it doesn't really matter. And then the Talia pick here, not a bad choice. Still can be flexed between mid lane and jungle. You have a lot of options there. And then taking away the Nautilus potentially to try and deny the Senna pairing. I am one of the biggest Senna Nautilus hater, not because the pair is bad, but because I just dislike the pairing. It just looks boring to me. But it's a takeaway to try and deny the pairing from just going forward. The Tamkinch, though, it's the kind of quintessential Senna pick that we've always seen, and it would make a ton of sense to see with the Senna. That being said, it's still boring, and I would have loved to see more variety coming into that bot lane map pairing.
For sure, but going to go with the tried and true here for the side of mobility and Chookies in the form of this Senna Tamkinch, and now with the chance to take one more, the Renekton. Both a solid blind pick in the top lane for Denethor, and I think a big steal away from Crimson. This has been a favorite pick of his so far. He's played it in every series since the Swiss stage. Now not going to get the opportunity on it in game number 1. So both a denial and a solid lock-in in one pick for Winthrop.
It's also being one of the champions that it's kind of favored going into Aatrox blindly, so it does take away a bit of picking the Aatrox yourself, then kind of forces another kind of pick coming in from Crimson. He's going to offer the K'Sante. Not a bad choice, but it's probably going to be a bit more reactionary to what the Renekton does than proactive. Not a bad pick overall, though, and I want to see how this top lane matchup goes, because Denethor is one of the players that we're kind of hyping up a lot, coming from the previous OQ split, going into this one as well. He's really, really good up there in the top lane and can be a difference maker if he's allowed to play the game really effectively. As we go into the second round of bans with the Orianna ban, and I would assume there's going to be a lot of focus towards the mid lane coming in from CCG, because they already took out the Talia. Yeah,
definitely looking to pinch away some of those reliable picks for Sword here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an Ahri ban come through as well. That would kind of eliminate all of the picks that he went for up against TFT. I think that would be another solid selection up against the Talia. I mean, the Talia is solid into the Ahri, but you can pretty much take Ahri into anything on the current patch without too much effort. Wouldn't be surprised to see that be the other ban. We'll see. Maybe there's a particular Talia counter or a particular Sword pocket pick that they decide they want to focus on a bit more. That would be my pick in this position. The Kai'Sa already going to be banned away from mobility as one of those really powerful, or sorry, from Instinct as one of those really powerful duos, as did miss out on that ban. See if we can find out what that was, or if it was a true miss. It was a true miss.
Yeah, it looks like it's a true miss. It's going to be the buys coming as a second ban here for the side of Winthrop, so now taking a bit of a hit onto the jungle pool. It does mean that the AD carry pool is still a bit open, and it looks like maybe it's going to be the Jinx. The Kai'Sa ban, I think, is really smart, because it's probably one of the champions that you would pair up with the Nautilus. And the Jinx here, going to take a bit longer to ramp up, but can be a great late game carry, so wouldn't be against it here with Instinct. And it does give the counter pick for mid lane or for jungle, depending on where you want to throw this Talia. Once again, could be a jungle Talia still. The Ahri, like you were pointing out, though, I thought it was going to be the Ahri ban. I was thinking maybe Annie as well, but the Ahri makes a lot of sense here, has great pick potential. Sword can play it out really, really well, and it works out with trying to get picks really, really quickly with the point and click CC on the Renekton, with the Tamkinch as well, having CC on your side. You have a lot of ways to set up your team.
Yeah, I mean, the Ahri for Sword, who could have foreseen this? I mean, it's, if only there was some kind of 5th ban you could have used to prevent this outcome, but letting it on through. I mean, CCG, I'm going to be giving you a lot of crap for this if you guys end up dropping this game 1 and Sword's Ahri has a big impact on it. They choose to let that one through. Now going to be the Wukong in the jungle for Wakao, the artist formerly known as Trickster. And now the final selection here likely going to be
the Tristana.
Oh, so it's Talia jungle for Yukino.
Yeah, utilizing the flex really effectively. I like this because if you're going to go for the Talia really early on, don't reveal your cards like that. Really nice to see the flex coming here. Bradley probably can play a bit more aggressive onto the area. The charm can still hit onto the Tristana because you're still jumping a straight line, but the pushing of the waves, trying to get damage onto the area, and the fact that you do have a way to try and escape from a potential gank works out really well for Bradley. And I do think that having Yukino on the farming side of the jungle, being able to get as much damage as possible on this Talia, and also being the sole AP or that magic damage dealer is going to be really nice because it does disincentivize going for magic resistance on the side of Winthrop.
It really does here. Now going to be Bradley piloting that Tristana in the mid lane. Love to see him on something a little bit more lane dominant, as we have loaded in, but we are going to create a 3-minute spectate delay. So we got 3 minutes to go until this game is going to be kicking on off. But we do get to see some summoner spells. We do get to see some rune selections. We do get to chat about that here. Something that stands out to me, TDS, this is going to be that first strike for Yukino in the jungle. So he's going to be really incentivized to be active early on that Talia in order to get the maximum value.
Trying to maximize value as much as possible. Talia still has a really nice wave clear or jungle clear, so it's not impossible for her to be proactive and try and get out there in the map. It's not going to be to the same degree that she was once before in the jungle, but she can still find a lot of value. And then also the fact that you have the work ground for potential 1v1s just make it a bit difficult for Wakao to try and get some potential fighting action against the Talia. Also, the movement speed does make it easier to try and go for certain ganks, and you have setup in pretty much in 2 out of the 3 lanes. Obviously Bradley doesn't have the CC to try and follow up there, but you do have a lot of damage, so if you're able to catch sword out of position, you can set up for a kill there. I want to see Yukino not necessarily be the most proactive, but like you're pointing out, just try and get that first strike as much as possible, and then as soon as you hit level 6, go for the jungle ganks or go for the lane ganks as much as possible, and try and make Wakao be a little bit behind you in the pace of the game.
Definitely something to be on the lookout for. Bradley also going for the fleet work this time around, so gonna have that little bit of additional lane sustain, maybe gonna have a little bit less burst damage that you might have gotten off of something like press the attack, or some of that additional sustain damage that you might have gotten off of a lethal tempo. Often a very popular pick on these AD carries. You can see that's what Instinct has ended up going with, but deciding instead that it's more important to have that lane power, more important to be able to get that little boost of movement speed to be able to get yourself out of dodge if Wakao ends up coming through for a gank, or if there's some incoming orbs of deception and charms trying to take you down. Bradley going to be our big focus, I think, in this game number 1 on the Tristana. They saved the R5 swapperoo for him and Yukino to give him this matchup. They left the Ahri up seemingly to guarantee the matchup. Will definitely be a lot of focus towards that man in the mid lane.
And importantly, that's why you wait the 5th pick to try and go for a counter here on the Tristana. I also want to look out for how Winthrop plays with the Renekton and the Wukong, 2 champions that want to try and get in from behind, try and get the flanks going really effectively, and also how the K'Sante is going to try and go for the peel for the Jinx, the Tristana, and the Talia. You're able to take out one of the bigger champions that are going to go towards the back, or one of the big teamfight ultimates like the Wukongs. So you want to try and make the most out of this K'Sante ultimate to pull people away and just open up the space for your carries. It's going to be an important game of timings, because the difference between winning a fight and losing out on it can all be decided by a tiny difference of seconds.
And it looks like we are about ready to get onto the Rift here for game number 1. Sending it in right now, Winthrop University on the blue side, CCG on the red. CCG with their promotion lives on the line. It is win here or it is go home until summer.
And it's going to start off with a potential staring contest. No one going to go for the bait, respecting the potential from either team to try and just be able to respond aggressively, but missing that spicy level 1 that try and gives you some sort of advantage early on.
Absolutely. And that spicy level 1 is what we will be on the lookout for. Look like anything too likely. Notably, Wakao not going for the potion. Start things off. Not often needed on the Wukong, especially with how much they buffed up that stone skin passive a little bit ago, makes his jungle clear just a little bit safer. Going to be helpful up against AD opponents as well, which you got 2 of on the enemy team in Bradley and Instinct. Checking out. They're going to go for a delayed invade here. Sword will come on out, so Yukino chucking out a couple of rocks just to kick things off, but not going to be too much additional play to be found. Instinct and Trevor going to respond on the opposite side with Bradley. It's just going to be that little trade of vision, but Ward gets in deeper slightly for CCG.
It's going to catch a bit more of the vision. They do know, though, that Yukino is starting over on the top side, whereas they still don't know where Wokao is starting, because he can still kind of play around the red buff and then move around the vision so that he's not spotted. But I like the fact that both teams trying to catch that early vision towards the enemy jungle. It's not going to be as impactful, though, if Yukino is able to just farm towards that level, or farm quickly towards his level 6 instead of trying to interact with the mob. And the lanes don't really mess up in some scenarios. But apart from that, I do like the fact that they are trying to catch junglers off guard.
Definitely what we want to be on the lookout for. Great vision set down on the opposing red side by CCG will give them a really clear idea of where Wakao is going as he gets over to the second phase of his clear. Yukino yet to be spotted out by that ward. I mean, definitely saw the initial bird take, but not too much to be found afterwards. Bradley's already going to be trying to get the most out of this Tristana pick he can. Nice little weave in there. Be able to get the explosion damage as well as an auto onto Sword, just for that positive trade. Going to look to dump as much damage into this turret in the early game as he can, as you can really cash out big time on plates with this Tristana mid pick.
Yeah, funnily enough, already starting so aggressive to try and push into the area, and that's one of the things that you want to have going against an area, because one of her main advantages is pushing this wave really fast, moving around, and then trying to play with your Wukong on other sides of the map. But with the Tristana here, you're able to outpush her, punish her in some situations, and even try and burst the turret. That difference there can really be important to just make the area not be as impactful, and could go to show why they didn't ban away the area with this sort of plan.
And a really early shove and recall comes out of Instinct and Trevor on the bottom lane, just to get Instinct back to be able to pick up that early game cull. See if they can eke out a tiny little advantage by being able to return before the wave crashes in. They're pulling over Yukino as well, as they might be looking for a little bit of a play towards bottom lane. Both junglers find themselves in this area of the map, neither spotting each other, but Yukino going to be able to get first strike here. Not going to be able to pull him in with the seismic shove, and now here comes Wakao for the response. CCG going to have to back away immediately.
Really unlucky there, just a tiny frame of the side, but kind of surprised to see Yukino walk into the lane before they walk forward on the side of Winthrop. Makes it so that they can move just in time to run away, as we see Wukong and Tristana fighting a bit.
Here, brawl back and forth. They're going to end up going down. Either going to take too much damage. He said in either way, going to be a little bit of a lull state for the time being, as junglers going to both go for crabs. Does look like Wakao's going to walk away with the double crab, so a faint advantage for him in the jungle matchup, as Denethor has just been keeping this wave right in Crimson's face all lane long so far. Fight breaking out bottom lane, flash and cleanse away from Instinct, but now Chookies might be in a little bit too deep. Has to think about flashing back out, but trusts that the gray health will keep him safe. Chunked very, very low here, but that is the last of Instinct's mana disappearing to those shots from the rockets. Not be able to chase any further.
Yeah, but the problem here now is that Instinct blows both summoners to try and escape that situation, whereas they didn't blow anything on the side of Winthrop. Now the setup for a potential gank from Wokao is much, much better for Winthrop, and if he reaches level 6 before Instinct gets his flashback, goes for a lane gank or any gank in the bot lane, it's going to be a certain kill, unless they play really badly. But really like the play there coming in from the bot lane from Winthrop, and showcasing that even in a matchup that they are getting pushed on, there's still a lane that you have to be really careful about.
Definitely is. With both summoners down for Instinct, it could be dangerous on that bottom side. Did go in for another recall here, just grabbing up a sword. Coming back on in. Be working on stacking up that cull as well. It's all about the later game on this Jinx, as Wakao is working his way on those grubs. Should be able to secure them for the team. It will be the cross-map trade for the Dragon. CCG's bot lane, they've returned from their time in the base. They should be able to secure this one, no problem.
So objective for objective, 3 grubs for the side of Winthrop, 1 dragon for the side of CCG. But importantly, trying to push lanes, the more grubs you have does make it easier to try and secure some objectives for yourself, as you know, trying to steal camps from the Wukong as well, trying to at the very least push the pace of the game a little bit faster in your favor. And Bradley also reaches level 6, so here could be a timing where you can try and set up for a kill into the area with the burst damage that you have both on the Tristana and on the Talia.
Little fashion back and forth here from both sides. Take a look at where these junglers are both pathing, both on the bottom side right now. Could be a revisit to the bottom lane for both before too long. You gotta believe Instinct has got a target on his head after having blown both summoners earlier on, and Wakao smells that there is an opportunity to get something done.
Still quite a quiet start when you look at how both of these teams do want to play it out. And with what we were talking about in the pregame, with who likes to play more of the early game and how they like to play it, for CCG, the fact that they are not getting as punished really early on does mean that they can play a bit more humbly coming into the late game. Potential gank onto the mid lane, but nothing is going to go on, and the game just keeps on being pretty equal in a lot of the instances.
I'm going to be honest, I like a quiet early game for CCG. Dive in on towards Bradley. He's going to try to jump himself away. Sword going to be able to land that charm underneath the turret, taking Bradley low, but the tower shot's back. Going to force Sword to disengage. Either party going to fall down there as the bot lane's still trading back and forth. Chookies feels confident playing aggressively on this Tahm Kench. Knows that he'll regen it back up before too long.
It is an aggressive jump there, and they do blow the flash from Bradley, so trying to make the Tristana suffer a bit more in the mid lane. Really like the play there, even though the ultimate from Wakao wasn't used. Now there's no flash on the Tristana. That means that you can re-engage there. Oh, Instinct.
Chookies again, and yeah, I mean, he's perfectly happy with these kind of trade patterns. As long as he gets the tongue lash down onto somebody, it's probably going to be favorable in health for himself and mobility, especially with those healings coming through from the piercing darkness. And going to be able to crash the wave thanks to it, looking to get themselves a plate. Hook in from Trevor, though, trying to play aggressively up against Chookies. He will again be able to fall back without too much danger. But seeing that low mana bar on mobility means that Winthrop are not going to be able to keep this siege up for long.
I just realized something, Gordo. It's a farming Senna, not a fasting Senna, actually.
It's last patch, yeah. I mean, you can just keep up that farming Senna if it's something you want to play, and it looks like that is where they want the gold going for mobility.
Well, they do. It's a case for Winthrop that keeping gold to mobility almost always works out. That being said, well, it can work out. Don't get me wrong. I think farming Senna in this previous patch is still useful enough and does have some merit. I'm not the biggest fan of it because you can play Senna normally and she still does so much and you give extra gold to the other player. But with this, the Senna spike is going to be a bit quicker. You will have more damage on the Senna, and it does mean that Tahm Kench still will be playing more of a supportive role than being an active tank to walk forward. That's kind of the difference that you make here. And it also means that in bottling trades, Senna is going to be doing a bit more damage than she typically would be doing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't love the farming Senna. I know Riot nerfed it, and that therefore that should set off some alarms in your head that maybe it's a little busted, but I feel like fasting Senna was always the better build. The ability to get an extra tank on your team and still have a pseudo marksman has always felt so valuable, but this time around, Winthrop going to forego that to prioritize getting mobility to gold and getting him out of those item spikes sooner, even at the cost of Chookies being able to build up to be an additional tanky member. So far, hasn't had too big of an impact either way. A bit of a CS lead going over towards mobility is use their opportunities. Here comes an engage from Sword, and the dash shot in really well placed from Chookies, reads the play, and will take down Bradley for first blood. Winthrop's on the board.
That was beautiful there by Chookies, reading the jump trajectory, and even if the jump doesn't work out, you still have no flash on the Tristana. So as soon as the jump happens there, you're in a perfect spot to try and kill the Tristana. Bradley going a bit too aggressive, and they punish it so effectively here on the side of Winthrop. And there's no real attempt coming in from CCG to try and make a play that is super impactful, because getting the plates here is not bad, but you need to find a kill or more gold going into Instinct than just a play.
And you need to be concerned about Instinct getting responded to here. They did not take too much time to get that play done in mid, so they're able to fall back. They're able to defend additional plates, and you see Sword was kind of cheating his way down towards the bottom side. I don't think they saw him recall, so they have to have it in the back of their minds that he could be coming on down as well. Rotating back up for Dragon number 2 now. Wakao is in the area. He's going to be able to jump right in onto Bradley. But not wanting to dedicate the Cyclone and without any backup from the team means they're going to start up this Dragon one way or the other.
They won a 5-biz at this point. Sword is coming back off base, so he's going to be a bit delayed, but there could be a potential fight after this. Dragon just gets big though, so nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, no Spirit Rush for Sword.
Yep.
Not going to be the easiest of fights to take, so they are going to let that one go down. It is 2 Dragons to 0 in favor of CCG. I started referring to this earlier on. Yes, they were able to take down Bradley, but again, I like a quiet early game for CCG. I think that has been their weakest point in this entire tournament so far, and I think they have got the members to be able to clutch out the team fights, especially with this scaling Jinx. I think they're pretty happy with how this has gone. You know, Denethor on a lane dominant pick. He's got about 2 waves worth of a CS lead. That's not nothing, but it's also not game ending. With that being pretty much the case across the board, CCG can fall back on their team fighting and trust that it'll carry them through the same way it's carried them through previous series.
Well, the difference maker here, it's going to be the fact that the Aerie does get her first item before the Tristana, so she can try and be a bit more impactful in the rest of the map. She's going to have more damage, she's going to have really good ability to move around, and this is the point where we need to see the activation of Sword. Him being more active, more valuable to the team, and trying to impact the rest of the map, just like he's doing right now, trying to move around with the sweeper and find space to get into the lanes.
That will be the goal. Been a very quiet run so far for Ol Wakao. Gets that 1 gank in mid, and that is about all you can write home about for the time being. The double scuttle earlier on as well, but has already kind of faded away from relevance as Yukino has been the one to build up a CS lead in the extended jungle matchup. Not spending as much time ganking and coming up with quite a bit of a gold lead for himself as a result. Here's the dive in. They want to take another crack at this bot lane gank, but Instinct has got everything back available. He will be able to flash if necessary.
Oh, the re-engage?
And they're going to go in for the re-engage. Here comes Yukino. The Cyclone going to connect onto Instinct.
Oh,
but he's got the backup of this Talia. It's Trevor who's left in way too deep, though, and Mobility going to be able to pick up that one.
And they are the ones forcing the re-engage. The respect onto Wakao is completely inexistent in that play, and they just let the Wukong get to the backline, utilize the Cyclone, and they kill the Nautilus so easily there. Wakao is still completely fine here, and I don't understand why they thought that was going to work out. Not because it's a bad play. Oh,
Crimson going for the all out there, not falling, landing the follow-up, and Tofo strike, though, won't get the little slow, won't be able to chase down Denethor for more. Nice set of the combo, but not going to be able to finish it off as Bradley steps up. There is no Cyclone for Wakao. Will be able to jump on out. Ended up a little bit closer than they might have liked. He'll be able to recall just fine. We'll be able to keep on farming it up in mid lane. That lead will stick for Winthrop as they pick up another.
Yeah, in the top lane, nothing really found with the Crimson play. I like the aggressive, but it wasn't really going to be that effective going in against the Denethor's connection in that sort of situation. And in the bot lane, apart from the kill, nothing else goes in favor of the side of Winthrop. So even though they do get a kill, the value of the kill is not really that big. And what I mean by this is that they don't turn that kill into anything else, which for CCG it's important. They need to keep the fact that if a kill happens, that it doesn't become something bigger that can impact the game. Just a kill, it's not really going to make a big enough difference that you're going to be worried about it.
Next objective up here, that's the Rift Herald, and they are going to start it up for Wakao. Bradley wandering over will probably see that it's being done as he drops the control ward, but there's no chance of response. Yukino's on the bottom side of the map, so that's going over to Winthrop. Yukino, he's going to get spotted here by Chookies. Over the wall, comes in with the dash, and they blow up the jungler. Clean play from Winthrop.
Instantaneous kill, and the way that Winthrop has been playing around their vision has been so nice. They are ready. Oh, Bradley, maybe that here.
Yeah, Bradley in a 1 versus 3 here. The knockup from Chookies connects again. He knows exactly where to place him, and that might cost Bradley his life. He's getting chased down underneath the turrets. Instinct's going to be able to come up, going to focus in on towards Chookies, but
they don't have the damage
for way longer. Instinct going to be able to get the first reset. He gets excited, jumps over the wall with a blast cone, and it's going to try to fall back underneath these turrets. Denethor has TP'd in and is looking to chase him down. He's going to tank up the turret if he has to. Flash in, finish off by Mobility, shove backwards from Yukino, but now he's got a flashback as well. Denethor keeps the dive going while Wakao tanks up the turret, and Winthrop University get handed more and more.
What a difference of a play there by the side of Winthrop. Really good execution. They find the 3 kills in the mid lane. And I will say, I kind of feel bad for Bradley there because that knockup is kind of BS. That shouldn't happen at all. The slight distance between the knockup and where the Tristana was, honestly, shouldn't be the case, but it does come through. Not respecting it, the flash blown way too late at that point, and really nice collection of the kill. And after that, they are trying to collect the kill onto Chukis, but they take too long because instinct is still not strong enough. The rest of the play is just really nice follow-up by Winthrop, and at this point, with the fact that they've been able to get more gold in their favor, this could be a really difficult dragon fight.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the stacking going, but like you said, it's a tough position. They're going to layer down the snap traps to try to give themselves
Crimson
that extra space. Diving in. Here comes Crimson. He's on the flank. They're going to focus everything they can on towards the Dragon. They pull him out of position and smite the Dragon all in one clean move. And that's 1 kill already over to CCG. What else are they going to be able to clean up? Damage came across onto Trevor. He's going to have to back away. And Topo strikes, pulls in more targets, and Denethor is going to go down for the shutdown. Now Bradley, seeing the resets in his eyes, another pull in from Crimson. We'll get 2 more to the side of CCG. And Mobility left all alone underneath this turret. No chance at a defense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that was going to work out that well, but Crimson make it work so effectively there with the K'Sante, and also the fact that they did have the damage to blow up a target so quickly. Oh, Crimson.
Watch out with that last raise. Almost take it down instinct as well, and that'll be shut down gold over to Mobility. Star AD of Winthrop sitting here at 4-0, even after his team makes a losing play.
Giving the gold to Mobility, probably not the smartest choice, especially a shutdown, but after what happened, collecting the Dragon and getting the kills and a couple of shutdowns in their favor, probably still a great play for CCG. Also, crucially, they are now at soul point. That means that the next Dragon fight has to be taken by Winthrop if they want to try and stop the stacking going, because one big thing that CCG has is double marksman. And that means that if you get Soul or Hextech Soul with 280 carries, that's going to be so much or so bothersome to try and deal with.
It really is. You do not want to give that one up to any team composition, frankly. Actually, one of the strongest souls, but especially to this CCG comp, who's going to have this range advantage. There's going to be rocks flying at you. There's going to be missiles. There's going to be level 18 Tristana, and they come in with a TP play on towards Wakao. He's going to have to use that Cyclone defensively. It will be enough to get him out to safety, but that is a critical tool down for a few more minutes for Winthrop.
It is a critical tool down, but importantly, there's no actual objective that they are going to be playing with for now. That TP is going to be down for the next 4 minutes. It means that there's not going to be anything for Crimson to try and accomplish on the other side of the map, whereas Denethor's TP is going to come back really quickly, and now he even gets a turret.
Yeah, Crimson not getting the dash through the wall, thought that he would, and that's going to really mess up this trade against Denethor.
That's 2 turrets.
It is.
Well, at least Bradley responds with 1 back, but I like the attempt though. I will say I like the idea that CCG had, but it probably is a play that you need to pull up with ultimate, because Crimson didn't have his ultimate in that spot, so that's why it looks kind of weird, the idea that they have previously.
Terrell going to crash in mid, won't be able to pick up the tower, and will fall down. Nobody hopping on its back for that particular play. The gold now pretty much neck and neck. Both teams have exchanged blows over the course of this early game and mid game. Now about 2 minutes to go until that soul point. Keep your eyes on what CCG are going to be able to do with that. Note, like you said, Crimson not going to have access to the TP. Bradley will, so they can put Bradley in these matchups up against Denethor. Sword will probably have TP back up by then as well. We'll have to see how they choose to pressure the map. They should be able to get this mid-outer turret after sieging. They really want this. Long. Look at Bradley, caught out pretty far away. Denethor coming in for the collapse. Bradley falling back to Yukino.
Bradley's fine.
There's the shove back in. Chuki's now getting focused, going to drop. That's a reset for Bradley, jumping forward on towards Denethor, and Denethor trying to turn this play around, but it's too little and too late. Yukino keeping the fight going on the other side. Shove back in Mobility. He's too low to keep fighting. Wakao trying to jump away with the decoy.
Is it a play now?
3 members of Winthrop will walk away from the play.
And it looks like it's a Baron play. They get the 2 kills onto Denethor and Chukis. What looked like collapsing on Bradley and finding the Tristana in an awful spot. He didn't have the flash at that point. He actually just got it back. So it could have been a defining moment, but they play it off really, really well. And this is the true strength from CCG. We talked about this in draft. They may not be the best team in early games, but at the point where they get to team fighting, they really know their limits and they execute on it so effectively. Instinct almost died as well, by the way. And now it's looking like a fight for the soul. They get the Baron buff, they get the extra stats that it gives, and also the control, or a bit of the control on the map. Sword was looking for a pick though.
Immediate TP towards mid lane from Bradley. They just want to get this mid prio back. They want to set up for the Dragon Soul. They want to see what they can take here, using this Baron wave to try to get in towards the inner turret. Here comes Chookies with the Abyssal Dive, trying to fall back and help out mobility, and this turret is just going to get demolished. Jinx plus Tristana, way too dangerous to structures. That'll fall down. Now it's time to set up for Dragon.
Exactly, they push so quickly, and now they also are getting the setup back in their favor. There's not a lot of vision though in river, so even if they get the push here, they are going to be a bit blind going into that river. The setup for a potential flank can still work out really well, and we have to account for the hex gates as well.
River going in to make sure that that vision ward is going to fall. They're going to start up the Dragon, pulling it out here. Winthrop University a little bit late to the play. Wakao going over the wall. Trevor knows that he needs to mark him. Instead, they might just look to force onto 4, knowing that Wakao is cut off.
Too much damage.
You got to be very careful here for Instinct. He's getting autoed by the Dragon the whole way. They're going to cut off Wakao on the other side. Denethor diving back in the back line. He's going to get ulted back away by Bradley, but it's too late. He flashes right back in, and that's shut down on towards the crucial targets. Instinct is down, and Bradley is at 0 HP. CCG are forced away from their Dragon Soul, and they're going to lose more members while they're adding Crimson to try to fight his way out. Will go down to mobility, and the damage back from Yukino is not enough.
That's so much damage that came through from the side of CCG, but crucially in the fight, and I don't understand why, Instinct kept on hitting the Dragon. He kept on trying to hover it when they knew that the Wukong was coming on the side. It was just setting up for disaster, and Winthrop this time around played the fight so well, collapsing on both AD carries, killing Instinct so quickly when he was in a really bad spot, and then following up to kill the remaining members. Yukino is able to deal so much damage in that spot, but they are not respecting when the threat is alive for the AD carries. They need to peel for them much better, kind of what they did in that team fight that net them their Baron buff.
Absolutely. And just not able to keep themselves in safe positions. They get a little too deep into things and do end up giving up Instinct's life. That is going to not give over the lead, but give Winthrop some breathing room here as they deny the Dragon Soul once again. They've got a while to go until they're going to have to worry about that one, and perhaps even another Baron before that breaks out. That's going to be the Baron buff expired for CCG as well, so only really getting that mid-inner turret. It's not nothing, but it's not as much as you hope to cash out with from a Baron.
100%. You wanted to try and at the very least force a bit more damage into the base. Both teams are pretty equal in terms of what they've been able to obtain in the map. Looking at the souls quickly, by the way, 70 souls for the Senna when she's playing farming is actually a really good stat. So Mobility doing a really good job at not only keeping the stacks up, but also being able to farm really well.
You can do it all when you're the farming Senna. That is one of those advantages.
That's why they nerfed it.
I suppose so. I suppose so. You get yourself a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Chookies, of course, is made of paper, and he's shown that in a couple of plays. So, you know, you take the bad with the good. But has not been too big of an issue either way. They do continue to set on up for the recall, coming back out, redeploying, and seeing what they're going to be able to find.
And they need to find something in both sides. That being said, the game is so close that realistically it doesn't feel like either team has been able to get the Baron or control over the Dragon. And this is kind of the expectation that we were going with going into this match. I'm glad that they are so close because it does create a fun scenario for both of these teams. And now that we're waiting for the next objective to spawn, kind of 2 minutes for the Baron, 250 for the Dragon, I want to see what the focus is going to be for both of these teams in terms of what they really want to get. Because with Soul Point already on their side, I feel like CCG probably should prioritize much more the Dragon than the Baron. Even if I understand why they don't.
I can definitely see that. We got about 90 seconds to go until the next Baron's going to be on the table, so eyes going to be on how both of these teams choose to play around that objective. More and more item spikes coming through for both sides, notably the full 3 items here for mobility. yeah, Senna goes a little bit of a cheaper build, but that is going to make a big difference if something breaks out here in the next minute. The fact that the LDR is already completed to be able to...
Oh, Denethor.
And actually something breaking out right here. It's a 2 versus 1 on towards Denethor. He could try to fight this one out with the shielding, but will decide to back on off, and he's not going to be able to come up with either. No escape, no kill back. Bradley going to be able to pick up the kill.
Pretty nice kill on the side, and because of where the kill happened, as well as the fact that no objective is still up, this could be a turret for Bradley. Yukino can just move quickly towards the mid lane, and they can try and make the play on this side of the map. Really nice choice. Maybe a bit, one of the things that maybe could have been better is probably trying to stun Bradley, or Denethor, I mean, but overall, really smart idea, and I like that we finally see the global pressure that Talia can pull off. Obviously, it's not going to net them a huge objective like Dragon or Baron, but finally we see these moves, and this can be a potential setup for future plays as well.
Really can. Denethor going to have the TP up when he respawns, about 5 seconds, 15 seconds to go until that Baron's on the table. And the recall's already done for CCG, redeploying all towards that top side. This is going to be the focus, while Sword is picking up that wave on the bottom side. He has TP to rejoin the fight. But look at these guys camping here. Wakao and Mobility hoping for an inadvertent face check, but they're just going to find themselves with Trevor.
Yeah, honestly, the push play was so nice to see. Oh, the flash.
Ooh, flash hook from Trevor, not quite going to connect, but is at the very least going to force Winthrop back and going to give control over this river over to CCG. The Baron is up and available, and this is going to be the focus from here on out. Crimson looking to buy space alongside both of his marksmen.
And I like the flash play there by Trevor. Actually, Wakao's flash is much more valuable, and we may see a fight really soon here. Everyone playing around mid lane.
Eyes on Wakao, looking for a huge Cyclone. The dive in is on the Chookies. Here comes Wakao. He gets booted right back out by the Buster shot from Bradley, and that's going to stop him in his tracks. About half of the HP gone off of Denethor. A huge chunk found on a Chookies and Sword as well. And CCG back on away. They say, hey, we're favored now. We're going to take control over this river, and we might even start up the Baron.
Again, double 80 carry, so this Baron can die really, really quickly. But Wakao still has the clone, still has ultimate, and he's coming in on the back. This could be risky.
A huge 4-man knockup in the cards here as they hold across the wave. Instinct taken incredibly low. Gets hit by the knockup and is going to drop, but it's in trade for Sword. Mobility is set up with perfect fight lines. He continues to fire shots through the rest of the CCG roster. Flash forward from Denethor, finds the last remaining carry. Yukino with a massive seismic shove. Cleans up 3, but it's Mobility left standing at the end of the day. A 9-kill fight ends in a quadra kill for Mobility.
And what's a triple kill to a quadra kill? Yukino actually doing so much damage, but like you said, Gordo, Mobility with the perfect spot in that team fight. And this is pretty much why Senna is still considered so strong. Her kit is so valuable in this team fight. Ultimate value, heal value, stun value, everything is so good by Mobility. And even though it's not a Baron buff, it's going to be more than likely this Dragon, and stopping the soul point still for the side of CCG. Maybe someone can TP. Crimson has teleport. Can he actually do it?
Oh, he's gonna try. They got it low to 400 HP, and Mobility will secure the Dragon again. You know what? I've dealt with Winthrop fans before, TDS. So I'm gonna say it right now. I apologize, Mobility. I was not familiar with your farming Senna game. He is clutched up massively in this game number 1. It deserves all of that credit.
100% so well played by Mobility, and importantly, he also didn't use flash in that previous fight, so he actually still has a way to keep himself safe from any sort of play. I will say though, I don't like the fact that CCG is playing so aggressive for in some of these fights like that, because they have double 80 carry. The only way that your backline can die is if you're not protecting them, and they are doing just that. Oh, Trevor, no flash.
Found his engage. He gets the Cyclone onto 2, and that's going to let them clean up Trevor. That's 40 seconds with no Nautilus. He didn't even get to depth charge, and CCG now find themselves outnumbered and outgunned.
Sword on the side. Sword on the side, really risky there.
Yeah, going to be finding Crimson, trade back and forth. Baron at half HP. Yukino has the flash. He has the ultimate. He could risk it all here, and will he do it? He's going for it. He steals the Baron. Yukino buying additional time for CCG. He'll give his life to Denethor, but Bradley now wearing purple as he pushes on the bottom side and is able to pick up that outer turret.
I don't know how he does it, but It's so well by Yukino there. Sacrificing his life, ends up dying, yes, but you get the turret in the bot side, and importantly, 4 Baron buffs in the favor of CCG. Now, the game is going to go a bit longer now that the Baron buff is in their side, but as long as they don't make any big mistakes, this could be a big push for CCG. Winthrop, though, I understand. I think the idea is not bad, but they were not expecting Yukino to be able to steal it like that. And I feel like Sword had to be more on the side of stopping the jungler than trying to go for the assassination. And Denethor as well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it made up a huge difference there. They end up with the burger flip. They are not able to get away from Yukino. Nobody's left marking him. He gets over the wall and is able to snag that one. I mean, the only way that play is cleaner is if he does it mid-surf, but I understand not wanting to take that risk here.
So, keeping the game as close as possible, like this Baron buff doesn't really mean that CCG is going to break the base. Because the protection that, Yukino
would dive forward, Yukino gonna be caught. Instinct trying to catch it up. There's gonna be the dive in from Wakao. They're gonna clean up Instinct too. Winthrop University snapped a trap shot, and they might cash out with 4 kills. Trevor trying to Spider-Man his way out of here, but he's got no chance. Chookies cleans him up, and it is going to be a 5 versus 2 on the map. Winthrop University have their run of things.
And exactly just like that, the Baron buff has no value anymore. Pretty good play there by Winthrop, but it's so nice to see coming from both of these teams. The split-second decision to just go for the play there, both Walkout and Sword. Aggressive, no flash on Yukino, they insta-kill the Tali and then moving for Instinct. It's so well done. This game is on knife's edge.
Could go either way. And it's all up to how they're able to protect Instinct. I mean, Yukino and Instinct both getting blown up at the start there just gives them no chance in those full-on 5-on-5s. You just got to be disciplined in your positioning across the map if you're going to be able to execute against Winthrop University. Otherwise, they will find your exposed members and they will take them down.
It really looks like that. And 104 souls for the Senna at 32 minutes. It really doesn't look like she was playing the fasting Senna. That she was playing the farming Senna, I mean. It looks like just a normal fasting Senna. So strong what Mobility is able to do, and even though you have 2 marksmen, Mobility kind of equals that with the damage output that he has had so far.
You know, coming back out of the base as is Instinct. Dragon once again, twice in a row. Winthrop University have been able to deny that crucial soul point. CCG going to try to make that stop being the case right here, right now. They've got 4 items on each of these 80 carries. This is such a powerful fight position for them if they can get the fight lines that they need. And look at them. They're already collapsing on the bottom side. They want to see if they can get a play on the Sword.
Yeah, they are trying to look for it. They also have the Baron buff on both Bradley and Crimson, so they were probably trying to find a potential play with that Baron buff push. But the minions just die and they are not able to go for it. Teleport from Sword. They know that the control on this dragon is super crucial. And honestly, Winthrop has been really effective at controlling some of the... Oh, wait.
Vision, everything on Winthrop. The fight starting up on the other side. Bradley firing away, keeping Denethor at bay. Jumps over the wall, is going to find himself face to face with Cow, but the 280 carries are going to be able to melt him down. Instinct backing away, getting chased down by Sword. Sword goes into the stasis, and both carries are down. The execution from Winthrop is just too good, and they're able to find the members they need. Sword stays alive through it all, and this is going to be another Dragon, 3rd in a row to Winthrop University.
Third Hextech, but once again, the fight from CCG feels a bit disjointed because they are playing without protecting their 80 carries. Yukino was trying to get to the fight quickly with the Weaver's Wall, but on the side you see Sword, on the side you see Walkout. The backline is always in an unsafe spot and the protection is not as effective. You need to see more of the Trevor and Crimson just protecting the backline for as much as possible. Sword trying to stop the backs here.
I was really feeling CCG favored after they were able to snag that kill onto a cow, but Denethor too strong on the front line, and now Denethor coming in on a big flank. Sword just distracting Crimson here, separating the remaining members of CCG. They're trying to find Yukino on the other side. Crimson going to be able to take down Sword. That's one mid laner taken down, but you're going to give your life on the other side. Yukino doing his best to stay alive, but he's got no chance up against Denethor's Renekton. Trevor shows up, but it's only to watch his teammate die, as this is a 2-1 overall in the trade. It favors Winthrop University.
That may be K'Sante, but it's not a strong K'Sante. So well done there by Winthrop to find 2 kills and also get the dragon. This game still so close for both sides, but it feels like Winthrop has made the better decisions after what happened with that first Baron buff. They've been much smarter about their approach to team fights, and the way that they've been trying to collapse onto the backline has been so effective. It really can still go either way, but the fact that Winthrop has been a tad bit smarter in how they approach it may be the difference maker moving forward.
That's exactly what I was thinking right now, TDS. The exact same way that a slow early game made me feel more confident in CCG, a close late game where Winthrop are out macroing makes me feel a lot more concerned for CCG. Winthrop able to come up, find the fights that they need, out-execute CCG in the position where they have been the strongest previously in this. That might mean we're going to be able to cast this fight. Let's get the stream up, boys.
Okay, I think they got Baron buff, so there was no fight.
I'm watching the stream. I'm watching the live stream where the game is still up. They got Baron for the side of CCG, but they lost Inhibitor.
So it's the typical inhib for Baron play. I don't have a dislike for that if they are able to make more plays on the side lane, but this does mean that the potential old Denethor.
Denethor breaking out here, going to get collapsed on by 3 members. This is going to be a Baron. Is just too much.
Gordon, both the laners die, by the way. They get pretty equal trade in that sense, and at this point it's still working out for CC. Oh wait, walk out.
Oh man, it's gonna end up going down. Bradley trying to fight it back. There's gonna be the kill found onto the Wukong as we're back, baby. We're back.
Okay, we're back. The game is back. And CCG still has something. They actually killed both Denethor and Walkout. They have the numbers advantage. They are pushing onto the side from Winthrop, and this could be the potential play that can open up a bit more of the game. The Baron buff, once again, feels like it doesn't really accomplish anything because neither team is able to break the base with it. Oh, Bradley.
CCG so strong, though. That is such a strong point of this competition. But the catch onto Yukino. Yukino has dropped, but they've gotten themselves some towers in trade. CCG have got to back away right now. They're at risk of losing the whole dang game.
And just like that, they do break the base, but Yukino does die. It's still such a close game. Both teams have something going for them and at the same time have nothing because both youngers now are dead. Objectives up in 50 seconds, soul for either team. Could be the game-defining fight. We're 38 minutes in. Whoever dies here may potentially just lose the game.
That is really going to be what makes the difference here. Game is on a knife's edge, less than 1,000 gold separating these two, and we are going the full 7 dragon distance. 30 seconds until one of these teams is going to be able to claim soul, and that has got to be where all the focus is going to be. But Bradley still in the top lane without TP. What is the decision going to be here? He gets spotted out by that blue ward. He can't get down here in time. Is he just going to hard push top lane?
I think they're going to play off of this, so risking to lose not the game, but risking to lose the base or the dragon. They are giving it up. I think they are giving it up. They are not in position. The dragon will die really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a Dragon Soul.
Yeah, it's just a dragon.
Or the side of Winthrop. I mean, Bradley's trying to push on it towards.
They're too late for it.
They're coming on over. There's going to be the rocket. Not going to be the steal for Instinct, and it will go over towards the side of Winthrop. Winthrop with 4 dragons in a row will secure themselves the soul, but they will lose the inhibitor. The cut off from Yukino. They're trying to set up for this backdoor potential from Bradley. They want to pick off the Winthrop members while they still can. They know that Denethor has already recalled back to the base, but nobody going to be dropping, and there's not going to be any engage angle found. Crimson trying to set up and stack up those Antofo strikes, but he's too far away. Winthrop has managed to regroup in the base, and they're going to try to collapse onto Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley's just going to jump away, so they were trying to play for the base. Wokow going in, and actually Oof, that's a lot of damage.
Crimson goes down, just not going to be able to keep on standing. And this is going to be 4 members left for CCG. They're going to have to give up on this siege.
And they had so much damage to lock down Crimson, but also with the soul now, they're able to kite him even easier because they have a lot of ways to just put him in a slow and just keep him controlled. This is going to be a harsher game for Crimson in this spot, and it's a really difficult bet to look at because there's ways to make it work out with Bradley. Tristana takes turrets so easily, but if you're not able to get onto the base, then the trade is just much more favorable for the side of Winthrop. We have to wait and see if Bradley's split pushing is going to pay off.
I mean, having 2 inhibs down in both side lanes is certainly influential, but not to understate the power of the Dragon Soul. Winthrop wearing this one are going to be so much stronger in these fight cases. And let me highlight mobility once again. Full build 14, 0, and 11 on this Senna, getting stronger all the time from these souls. He has been absolutely clutch in game number 1. And he's going to try to take this all the way home, but so much base defense required out of Winthrop. They are going to have to use all these macro skills they've been demonstrating to keep their base safe.
I want to see how much does mobility, or can we see the range from mobility actually? Is it this thing that we can show? Because at this point, with the amount of souls that he has, probably going to be hitting from really far away.
He's got 148. That's a lot of range. I'm just gonna say it's a lot. It's too far. As Bradley's getting caught in the bottom side, gonna be able to jump himself out to safety. Slowed up by the soul plus the piercing darkness, but he gets away. And CCG are gonna try to just take it through the front door, walking in towards this inhibitor, walking in as Zenithor to try to keep up the defense, but they will be able to take it down. One more auto. One more auto.
Wait, minions? No, it's not enough. They didn't hit the inhibitor.
I mean, it just literally one more rock. Talia has a line about this, Yukino. But CCG can't take it down. And instead, they're going to fall back for the Baron, but they're going to be the first ones on the objective. Bradley's on the bottom side. He's got the TP available, TDS.
Yeah, they're going to play the similar game once again. You play off Bradley on the side, try and take down the inhibitor, and then bait out the side of Winthrop to make the top decision. Even with the Dragon, it's still difficult to decide where you want to focus on. But I like this from CCG. You don't need to force the Baron buff. You just need to force Winthrop to think you want the Baron buff.
Yeah, Denethor going on down. He's the one with the TP available. He's going to stand down here to face off against Bradley. Bradley notably does not have the Buster shot, so he's not going to be able to create quite as much distance up against the Croc. This is a dangerous one-on-one matchup for him.
This is staying so close in so many ways. I feel like Bradley probably wishes that Sword was the one answering to him because he can actually one-shot Sword. But because Sword used teleport on the top lane, they have to send Bradley Denethor 100%. And now we see a bit of the trading here. Tristana hitting really strong, but Denethor is still taking the damage really well.
Anathema's chains for Denethor are making a big difference here as mobility has come on up to make the difference. Mobility's going to make it into a 1 versus 2. The res is coming on across for Bradley, but that means CCG have got their opportunity to start on up the Baron. They're going to lose their mid laner. The TP now being channeled, but the Baron down below 3k HP. They're going to be able to smite it down. Now to be able to get away and keep these buffs standing. Dawning Shadow across the team as Denethor leads the charge. He's getting dropped lower and lower. Instinct has got to be able to find the resets. He's excited and moving on towards Wakao. Wakao going to be the next one to fall. Instinct has got to be able to find these rockets, and he will. They clean up the remaining members of the fight. Wakao and Mobility, the only 2 left standing up against 3 members of CCG.
3 members strong plus Instinct on the side. They betted. They were going for the kill onto Bradley, and they find it. Tristana does have teleport in 20 seconds. Wakao needs to be careful here.
Yeah, that's not the real Wukong. It's not the real Wakao. And it will disappear. But the 3-man squad, they've got 30 seconds here. They are wearing the Baron buff. They want to take this in towards the Nexus. They will at the very least get all 3 inhibs if they want them, but they do not want to waste these minions while they're still here. Crimson leading the charge. Instinct going to try to get excited. He will off of the first turret. The teleport now being channeled for Bradley. He's going to be the first one back and available. Bradley is here as well, and Winthrop University cannot mount the defense. Mobility will drop for the first and final time in game number 1 as CCG take the lead in the series.
And it's all on the play on the side lane. Bradley may have died, but they commit mobility to go for the play. You're sending the strongest member in the game, I would be willing to bet, at that point to kill the Tristana. And the difference maker, apart from the fact that they are sending mobility with no teleport, is the Guardian Angel. If it's just Tristana at the start, they probably kill her. They can take much less time to just go back to the Baron buff. But because of the amount of time it takes to kill the Tristana, they are able to make the play for the Baron buff. And at the end, play around that really well. Also having the teleport from the Tristana on the backhand. So really smart decision there. Really nice call by CCG. And at the last fight, out Winthroping Winthrop.
They finally make the call that they needed to. They sacrifice Bradley in the side lane to be able to close it out. And oh boy, I hope that's indicative of the rest of this series, TPS, because that game was on a knife's edge the whole way through, and it just barely comes up for CCG. Very likely to get a side swap now coming into game number 2. We will find out before too long. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get in the draft for game number 2. But as soon as the players are ready, we will be here to bring you more of the action.
everything goes on. You were staring at the window, and it said, I wanna take you to the sea. And when I'm better, we'll do everything. I gotta stop making promises I can't keep. But if I was gone tomorrow, won't the waves crash on? Is it selfish that I'm happy as we pass the setting sun? Someday I'll be overcast, but you won't have to cry, 'cause we'll do the grieving while I'm by your side. I said, don't try to make yourself remember, darling.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Aegis Esports' coverage of the NACL Open Qualifier Semifinals, where CCG are up 1-0 over Winthrop University, and we are getting into draft for game number 2.
And we're not going to get a side change from either of the teams. Interesting, because I thought we were going to get some change-ups here and there, but Winthrop staying on the blue side, that means that we're going to see a Senna ban coming in from CCG. But to go back to the previous game, I really like how CCG played in certain stages. Obviously, there was a lot of back and forth in how some decisions went through, but I feel like the way that they played at the end was really, really smart. And I want to see them give Bradley once again a counter pick in the mid.
Absolutely, that came up huge for them in game number 1. Winthrop University feel like they know what their errors were, and note that this is Fearless Draft, so there are going to be those picks from game number 1 banned away into game number 2. Let's see if they feel the need to swap up their picks and bans from game number 1. So far, looking pretty similar. CCG banning away the Talia now that they can't pick it for themselves. That's the first change we've got to see.
Exactly, and this is the kind of thing that happens with the fearless drafts, right? The fact that you can play the champions anymore, you have to ban them away for the enemy team to not pick it at all. And that goes for the Talia, same for the Senna. We may get something as well, maybe from the Jinx, since they cannot play it anymore in CCG, and trying to keep the Barrows alive, which could be a little bit risky. I think giving away Barrows could be dangerous for someone like Mobility, so it probably could be the last ban here for CCG.
Could be what CCG wants to round things out with here. That Senna ban definitely going to make a big difference, as oh, we will find out what that ban was.
I think they're going to be restarting draft, I think.
Oh, all right. If it's going to be restarting draft, then we will find out. Yeah, they're going to remake.
Yeah, understandable, but well, at the very least, with the first 3 that we saw, once again, focused towards the bot lane, but importantly, taking away those picks that we saw in the previous game. And I think the Senna is the main one that I'm looking at, because Winthrop already lost the Senna game, right? CCG having the chance to get that out of the way, or to get their chance to play the Senna, could be really crucial. So I think that Winthrop pretty much has to now ban the Senna every time.
Absolutely here. I'll have to check on out what we might end up with as soon as we're able to get back in. Not sure why we need to dodge, but we will hopefully be getting back in before too long. Maybe somebody's client bugged, who's to say. Got ourselves a new draft law link now, and we will be getting into that one before too long.
Yeah, we pretty much know the initial ban, so it should go really quickly. And to talk a little bit more about the Fearless, right? Because it's something that maybe not a lot of people are still accustomed to. Obviously, it's something that it's happening in the NACL, something that has happened in other leagues. It's also something that was already implemented in the OQs before, and it's something that changes a lot of dynamics in how the ban works, in how the pick and bans go. So you need to have a pool that you can rely on to try and make the most out of your pick and ban phase, because it can be really difficult if you don't have a big enough pool that can try to make the most out of your champions.
Yeah, and now we are back in and ready for draft once again. Still going to be Winthrop on the blue side, still going to be CCG on the red. Winthrop are going to look to try to equalize this series and take us to game number 3. Pretty sure those first bans are just locked on in, so they're going to zip through those in no time at all. That Talia still going to get pinched away by CCG, knowing that they don't have the option to select it, and there's going to be that Senna coming through for Winthrop.
that we're going to stay with the similar bands, and the last one going to be potentially the Lucian. So still keeping true the focus on the bot lane, but taking away the Lucian. I kind of surprised to see it because I feel like Varus could probably be a much important choice. I could see Winthrop taking it here, and it looks like it's going to be that because the value of the Varus in the bot lane is so big. And now we need to see the answer from CCG. There's people that really like the Seri still coming back up in the meta. Kalista still a strong enough champion, so could come here with the Renata as well. Also for the fact that there's still a lot of engaged champions that are available in the meta, but I'm surprised that they were so willing to give up the Varus and instead are going to take the Wei as well, which was banned in the previous game.
Yeah, that's definitely a surprise coming on across, but Winthrop clearly deciding that it is most important to secure themselves that Varus, and CCG deciding they're willing to let it through as long as Instinct can get on his Kalista. This Nocturne hover makes me think we're going to see a Nocturne Orianna rotation coming out of Winthrop to guarantee they're going to have that all-important duo. Here it comes. That is going to leave supports to be banned away by CCG, but I think Winthrop are going to be willing to make that sacrifice.
And we saw yesterday the Nocturne Orianna plus Yasuo combo in the ACL worked out to a certain degree, but a big difference maker in that game was a Tahm This time around, I don't think CCG can afford to go for the Tahm because it's not the most ideal pairing for the Kalista. So this does mean that there's more incentive now for Winthrop to try and pull off this sort of combo, and it can be really detrimental for the weak links in the backline in the form of the Kalista and the Wei. And this also could turn into a Renata ban to try and take away from that aggressive bot lane pairing from CCG. The Wukong though, going to be an interesting mix-up for Yukino.
Going to be interesting for sure. See how exactly they want to navigate. They're going to take away that Nautilus. The Renata likely going to be banned away here as well. The classic Kalista duo. See how much further they want to take it. Curious about what other Kalista duos we really get to see much of these days. Maybe going to be something like that. Alistair could be on the short list of champions.
What about the Ballista?
What about what?
The Ballista combo. Blitzcrank and Kalista.
Yeah, that could be a fun one. We'll see what they think is most valuable. They are going to take away Gnar as well from Denethor.
I think probably another top lane champion here. Yeah, though the Olaf would make a ton of sense, goes over every bit of CC that Winthrop does have, and I don't think anyone plays the Trundle counter pick, or they don't bring it out as often, so probably going to be a smarter choice to ban away the Olaf here. I can see though the Renekton being picked by CCG here. Really effective champion, really consistent in what he's able to achieve, and a pretty comfortable blind pick for Crimson. And this could be an answer with the Aatrox, maybe the Rumble, since it's not banned away for Denethor, and could add to the combo from Nocturne Orianna, but instead, a much more lane-oriented counter pick here.
Yeah, the blind pick Renekton, maybe going to set up for the Denethor Darius. I mean, do I dare to hope for the Denethor Darius? I do not. That is going to be K'Sante locked in here for Winthrop. Not going to try anything too far out of the ordinary, at least not with their backs up against the wall in this game. Number 2, Leona being hovered here for Varus. I wonder if this is just as much a takeaway from CCG as it is a lock-in for Winthrop. That they're going to look over towards this Rakan.
I like the idea of the Leona though, long and range engage with the ultimate, so you don't need to overly commit, and then you have the follow-up. But this could also be a Wei support. This doesn't need to be a Wei in the mid lane, and you can give counter pick here for Bradley after seeing everything. But I feel like it's smarter probably to approach it as a counter pick for the bot lane. Yeah, the Tahm is something we talked about for the combo of Orianna Nocturne, but I don't think it's the most ideal Kalista duo down there. This though, it's a much more classic combo. Kalista and Thresh. Been a while since I've seen one, but the Lantern does have a similar idea to the Devour from the Tahm Kench. There's a reason why we don't see much Thresh, and I want to see CCG being able to play it out, but you have to be extremely confident about your Thresh if you're going to pull it out like this.
You really do, and you know what? Trevor are going to show that confidence right now. And see if he could take CCG to the promotion tournament. A 2-0 over Winthrop would be such a statement here from CCG coming into that finals, and I mean, it would immediately cement them as teams to watch in the promotion tournament, as it would qualify them in one fell swoop there. CCG, I like this draft for them. I mean, they got some really solid skirmishing. I really like Bradley on the Wei. I like Hui and Wukong as a duo. I mean, Winthrop University, they've got some great bread and butter team fighting combos here between that Nocturne Orianna, that Rakan for the engage, the classic Varus for the DPS. We're gonna have to see who's gonna be able to execute better. I mean, CCG have what is relatively an early game composition here. I mean, we spent so much of this cast already talking about CCG. We've been unimpressed with their early game, but their later game and their team fighting has been so clutch. But they're the ones who opt into the earlier game strat right now.
Exactly, and this could be the game that makes us a bit of a believer into the CCG early game. But honestly, this does mean that they need to be not only proactive, but find their early advantages really well. And I want to see CCG try and take that sort of approach, be as effective as possible. And just quickly to bring it up as well, because the other semifinals is currently going on. Right now, Ole Miss is winning. This could be the potential for finally seeing the collegiate grand final that a lot of people were hoping to see eventually in the OQs if Winthrop does win the semifinal, but CCG is trying to put a damper onto that, and I'm rooting for CCG to do that because I'm not the biggest collegiate fan. So they're kind of excited to see if that ends up happening, and CCG has everything on their side to be able to pull it off.
Absolutely. Shout out to our colleagues Slayer and Bonfire over on the Salt Mine, where they are covering the other series. As you said, Ole Miss up 1-0 over there. And yeah, I mean, the CLAW versus CLAW final in NACLQs would be something to see. I mean, this is the future of North American Amateur League of Legends. I do really firmly believe that. I think not only the additional resources that are lacking elsewhere to be able to gather together all these highly skilled players and under one roof and be able to set them up to be able to develop, but also the coaching staff is such a big difference maker for collegiate. The fact that these guys can get long-term careers coaching in collegiate rather than the nickels and dimes you often end up with in the amateur space is so important. The fact that you get somebody like Artemis here for Winthrop University to hold on split after split after split and help you craft this team, it's part of what's made them so good, and would be a beautiful culmination to all of that narrative here if it was a CLAW versus CLAW final in the NACL qualifier. But it's a long journey back for Winthrop. Ole Miss maybe already halfway there.
Yeah, you have to be closer to winning to be able to reach that point, and Winthrop needs to win this one 100% and then maybe pull out the next one. Now, it may be the future in NA terms, in American terms, but I'm not a firm believer of that. I think it probably won't happen, but I'm the one doubter on the South Mine, so maybe it's going to be the case. As for how the series is going, I still think that Winthrop played well. The first game, obviously, they didn't inch out the victory, but they did so many good things that if they can replicate that, but with a bit of a smarter approach in the last moments of it, then they probably can take it out. And one of the biggest factors has to be mobility on this Varus. Really big difference maker on the Senna, will probably play out the lethality barriers because there's not a lot of tankiness on the CCG side. So as long as he can get an early lead and play through with that lethality barriers, we will just see so much damage coming in from him.
Very well might here. Getting into that spec delay, just a few seconds left until we're ready to begin game number 2. Taking a look at some of the runes here, I do want to shout out Sword on the phase rush for the Orianna, and something else real important here, mobility Arcane Comet Varus. This might be the lethality Varus build, TDS.
Exactly. It's, if you're taking the Comet approach, you're more than likely taking the lethality Varus here, and once again, that could be a difference maker. Not a lot of tankiness, not a lot of armor builders. You probably are going to see some armor in Trevor and possibly on Crimson, but apart from that, there is a lot of value coming in from this lethality build. And with the fact that you already have damage on Wokao and Venator in the 80 side, you really don't need to worry about later on in the game. Could be the difference maker here, but I want to see how mobility does, because he's the hyped up 80 carry in the amateur space. Him and Shogo probably the two most hype prospects in the 80 carry spot, so I want to see them play in a grand final. Would be kind of fun, even if I'm not the biggest collegiate fan.
Absolutely here. Would it be a hell of a narrative, as I do think probably at about 3 minutes on the delay here, so should be getting ready to get in just a moment or two. Yeah, we are ready to get onto the Rift. Game number 2, Winthrop University on the blue team, CCG on the red. CCG with 1 win to go until they will be able to secure themselves the promotion tournament and move on to the NACLQ finals. Winthrop going to do their best to force a game 3 here.
one more win for CCG, two for Winthrop. I hope that, like, without being any biased at all, but with full bias because I'm a caster, I hope Winthrop wins just because I won the 3 games. But if you're a CCG fan, you want them to close it out here, and they are setting up for a potential play on the Tri-Bush. I like the idea because of the hook from Trevor, and they are trying to spot if anyone was in that place.
For sure, for sure. The binding already coming on across from Instinct there. Going to be working together with Trevor this game and going to have him be the target of that pull in spit out ultimate. The Fate's Call, that's what it's called. I had to think about that one for a second. We'll see. Bradley on the Winter Blessed Way skin. This skin, a lot of people complain about it. I can see why. Some of the spells looking a little bit similar on this one. We'll see. That's going to mix up Sword in this game. And I really want to keep an eye on Mobility's build. I want to see how he wants to take this. If they are going to go full on lethality and just try to get massive pick advantages off of what Wakao can bring to the table on this Nocturne, or you see a little bit of something different.
Interestingly, not the initial approach that we saw from the previous game from Winthrop to try and get early vision onto Yukino, but instead there is early vision to try and spot the Wakao on the bot side of the map. So going to be a bit of a deferring attempt here, and I also want to see if Wakao wants to go really early on or just farming. With the Nocturne, you want to reach that level 6 as soon as possible, and it could end up being a difference maker. Oh, early Ignite.
The Ignite as they try to go aggressive here. Going to chunk Mobility out a little bit, but Chookies does a good job of disengaging and buying that space that Mobility needs. You're coming in from top to bottom from Yukino. Wakao going to be doing the very same. I think that Trevor will be able to get this wave crash on time. See if they can deny anything away from Mobility's Varus here.
They want to try and make it really difficult early on for the Varus. Obviously, one of the big things about lethality is that it doesn't take a long time to ramp up. You get your first item and it's going to impact so much the game. But that's why you want to do as Instinct and Trevor are doing. Push the wave, force a bit onto the Varus, and also this move trying to stop the camp collection from Wakao. I really like this move because Nocturne wants to reach the level 6, but he's not going to be the best fighter early on. With the early move, they get into the enemy jungle, they had the vision, and now they are going to steal this red buff. Really nice move coming here by CCG.
Yeah, I love this out of CCG. They're going to 3-buff Wakao in this early game, and that's so crucial on Nocturne, especially going to delay that level 6 even further. He just is going to be left without options. I mean, what, you're going to do a come Duskbringer gank walking on through mid lane? I don't think so. Now going to be left with kind of an impossible decision to make here, although Chookie is way too far up, going to be forced to flash. Tries to go aggressive, and Trevor says, nuh-uh, not today.
And that's an interesting move, and now flash down for the Rakan. They did blow heal on Instinct, so it is kind of a 1-for-1 in terms of summoners, but it could be a setup for later on as Wakao is spotted here. Same for Yukino, no dash on the Wukong or no clone on the Wukong, but I think that they have a slight advantage just because they do have a bit of control here in the mid lane. Oh.
Looks like they are taking that 2-on-2, at least trading blows back and forth a little bit. Nice trade from Denethor found on the top side. And you know, on the one hand, Wakao is being very annoying to Yukino, but on the other hand, he's doing this because it's all he can do. I mean, there's no camps available for him. He didn't win out for that Scuttler on the bottom side, and Yukino, happy to oblige, feels like he's favored in these fights, and I'm pretty sure he's right. He's going to have Bradley coming over to back him up. Wakao going to be forced to flash away. Yukino wants to finish it, but going to have to flash out himself as soon as Chookies shows up for the backup. That sentence not quite connecting for Trevor. He will have to back away himself as Instinct gonna return to the farming territory. Crimson, close fights all over the board.
Shot. Probably don't want to take the third shot again, but really a lot of trading up there in the top lane. And importantly, a difference maker in that bot lane play is the fact that the bot lane was able to move out first from Winthrop. They were first to the move, that's why you see a bit more control from Yukino, and they end up blowing the flash from the Wukong. It's a flash for flash, and Sword also did flash actually, so in terms of summoners, much more value for CCG. But you see how the dynamics in each lane works after who can make them first move. Whoever can move out and help their jungler first can really decide a fight in the river.
Absolutely here. Trevor clearing out some vision, but Chookie's stepping up to try to trade back. I'm going to take his fair share of spears in the back for that effort. Those grubs possibly going to be next on the menu here. Now moving up. Try to take them for himself, but it looks like Yukino is going to be over there before too long. And the topside priority is going over to Crimson.
Crimson is backing, though they will. Actually, Yukino steals it. I think he steals away the grub from the Wukao there. He gets two.
Does, but now he's going to have to
trying
to get out of here. We'll just decoy over the wall, and that's going to be all it takes to be able to get the Wukong to safety. And I mean, that's just really being a pain to this Nocturne. He's going to be able to get himself one measly grub for all of his time committed.
Yeah, in reality, it's an advantage for them. Botlane though getting a bit pushed here, and we're beginning to see how bothersome the lethality barriers can be, or actually the comet barriers can be, because you get the poke, you get the comet down, you just hit instinct from a safe distance, and the Kalista cannot accomplish that much.
Not at all. A little back and forth here coming in from the top laners. We've seen this matchup once before on the other way. This time around, I mean, Crimson not building up as big of a lead as Denethor did. See if he's going to be able to turn that around as they start to scale in a little bit more. Worth noting, Crimson also appears to be going for a different build. It was an Eclipse Rush for Denethor last game, but Crimson's already got the Phage in the inventory, implying something a little different.
Could be Black Cleaver, not a bad item to go for. It does take away some of the armor, so could be a bit of an adaptation coming in there. And I like the idea that you're trying to adapt. Wukao on the side, they are waiting to see if they can collapse onto Yukino. There is no ultimate though on the Nocturne, and there is Spirits on the O.
Breaking out here. They're going to play back in Chookies, and that damage is ridiculous. CCG going to be able to pick up first blood. It goes over to Trevor, probably not who you wanted, but this is going to cement them the dragon in the play.
It's unlucky that the one that gets the kill, it's going to be the Thresh, but overall, really nice kill. They get really good dragon collection as well, and taking advantage of what we were talking about, early game action, because the Nocturne still is not level 6, the Wukong does quite a bit of damage early on, and then you also had the first move from the bot lane. Mobility was coming back to lane, or at the very least setting himself up back to lane, and he didn't apply much help to the play. So really nice play overall. Trevor has the flash.
Oof. Now finding his way into a little bit of a play on the bottom side, and Trevor saw the chain CC coming, knew that I get feared here, I'm getting Chains of Corruption, I'm getting Grand Entrance knockups, and I am going down. So wisely choosing to flash away. He's got the Hex flash on the Thresh, so not too big of a loss either way.
And you're also close to getting the Fate Skull from the Kalista, so you're eventually going to get a fake flash from her as well. So it's not the biggest loss to go for that. And you also deny any sort of aggressive attempt from the side of CCG. But quickly looking, Wukao is getting his jungle stolen. Yukino on the back steals the red buff, also moves towards the Crux to try and get that, doesn't get that, but they are trying to take away as many resources as possible from this Nocturne, and I really like that sort of aggressiveness coming in from Yukino.
Absolutely. Love to see this out of this young jungler. I mean, a lot of people don't really remember necessarily, but, you know, Yukino, teammates side by side with Sniper on 100 Thieves Challengers back in the day, and same age as him as well. So another one of these super young North American prospects in this game coming up a big time up against Wukao. Really able to set him behind in the jungle matchup as he's taken away both red buffs, and call this a 4 buff over the course of the first 2 spawns.
Yeah, pretty much doing such a good job at keeping that sort of threat up as much as possible. Still has his own red buff, and like you're pointing out, a jungler that maybe doesn't get a lot of attention or a lot of recognition during his time in Academy, or aka in NACL, but he did a really good job up there, and I think that he is one that if they go to the promotion tournament, I would keep my eyes out for, because he could be he's a really great jungle prospect and can do a lot if given the opportunity.
Now showing that this game here, see if he's going to be able to keep it up now, as he's going to be wearing those engage responsibility pants for this fight and for this game. It can't be a big flank from Crimson. It's going to have to be a big dash in from Yukino. Trevor, kind of a secondary engager on this Thresh. He can make picks if he can land some great hooks. He can pull other folks in and out of the fray. He's not like a Nautilus. He's not going to be that really consistent, let's go force in these team fights. That responsibility is going to have to sit with Yukino.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I wouldn't call the Thresh an engager, but I can see that happening once or twice in some of the plays, as the grubs are going down with the previous grubs that Yukino is able to get away. they are now getting the 5 routes, so the advantage going in favor of the side of CCG. Plus the dragon that they got so far, so much control over the objectives, and really like to see this coming in from the side of CCG, trying to just deny as much as possible from Winthrop. And there may be a slight attempt at trying to go into the jungle.
Definitely. Here's Trevor beaten around by that red buff. To see if he can find somebody face checking him, but he and Instinct are going to decide to back away once they see that Wakao is in the area. You don't want to fall victim to that Nocturne Orianna combo that is now available when you aren't ready for it. They're going to return to their farming, where Instinct has built himself up a solid lead over Mobility in that early CS department. A little bit of a lead being built up in the top lane by Crimson over Denethor as well. These matchups being played out at least how you would expect them to. Maybe not massive advantages towards the more lane dominance of the picks, but coming up with something, and it's contributing to about a 1.5k gold lead.
But importantly, it's also pretty similar. Oh, Trevor Wakao is here.
Yeah, he's going to get knocked up. He might end up dying. There is going to be the hook coming on across, or rather that Chains of Corruption. But here's the re-engage from Yukino, getting the knock up onto all 3 members, keeping it going. He wants to finish off Mobility, and he'll do it. He's going out of Chookies as well. The teleport in from Sword allowed him to clean up 1. Yukino knows that he's done for, trying to get a second, won't be able to do it. And that's going to be 2 kills over to Winthrop for 1 to CCG.
And really good teleport play there by Sword. Even though Bradley's getting some plates in the mid lane, that's still so much value for the side of Winthrop. I will say though, weird that we didn't see Instinct utilize the ultimate. He has Fate's Gold still active, so could have saved Trevor in that position, or at the very least use it to make the CC chain from Yukino much more effective. But they still get 1 kill onto Mobility. They find the plates on the mid lane, so the gold value overall kind of equaling out on each position.
Yeah, really is going to cost them some time in mid lane, give some plates over to Bradley. These plates are really where a lot of the gold lead is coming up. Crimson's got 3 plates at the top lane, Bradley's got 3 plates in mid lane, and that is in response to 0 plates from their opposition. Going to be certainly feeling good about that as they set up for Dragon number 2. Yukino going to be the first one to this objective. Instinct getting the wave crashed in the bottom lane. The Sword going in to catch it. They should be able to secure this.
Yeah, Wakao is too far away. He doesn't have ultimate either, so it's not like he's going to be a big difference maker to try and collect this dragon. Second dragon going into favor of CCG. That means that Infernal Soul is going to be the soul of the game, and they have a foot ahead of the side of Winthrop. That being said, in the previous game, they had 3 dragons at one point and then stopped getting dragons altogether.
Sure did. Okay, the pull back in from Denethor, getting a little bit on towards Crimson. I'm keeping my eyes on this top lane. I think this could explode in an instant. Denethor, such a good laner in this top lane, and if he finds a little bit of exposure here from Crimson, he is going to seize that opportunity, and he might see it here with the 3rd and Tofo strike. Good dodge away from Crimson to be able to stay alive.
So are you betting on a solo kill in the top lane?
Betting is a strong word. I mean, I think it could happen. I think it could happen. The way I'm seeing these engagements go back and forth, I'm seeing opportunities for Denethor if he chooses to seize them up against this Black Cleaver, which, by the way, you were right about that rush, DDFs. See if Denethor finds himself the shots.
It's an interesting variation, by the way. It does take away from the armor. Oh, no. Yep. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, yep. Oh, there we go. There's going to be the death on towards Instinct. No chance for him to be able to get out of there as the ulti combo comes on across. And Instinct will drop down. A big relief here for Winthrop. Been getting bullied in that bottom lane. They're able to take down the Callista twice. And now looking to see if they can secure themselves first turret gold.
And if that's going to be a story of the game, I'm kind of scared for Instinct. The same can be said for Mobility, though. Whoever team's AD carry explodes first probably is going to define a team fight. And there's ways for both Yukino and for both Wakao to get to that backline. But having the added value of the ultimate is just so big. And Denethor is here by himself.
Yeah, now he's going to get engaged on by Yukino, and
they're here actually
slapped on by multiple members. Going to go into that all-out. Here comes that Cyclone across the team. Not going to be able to connect the hook. And Winthrop University, are you kidding me? They get out of here without losing any members. They do drop quite a bit in the gold lead as first and second turrets go over towards CCG, but managing to escape from that top lane play, that's a victory on its own.
Yeah, how is Wokao still alive? He actually was almost sniped, has to blow the flash. Denethor though did survive quite a bit, and they did commit a bit of things from the side of CCG as well. The ultimate from Wukong is down now compared to the ultimate from the Nocturne that was used in the previous play. So they do have an added value because those ultimates are going to come from the next objective that should be spawning quite soon.
Could be. Likely going to be that next dragon. Get to see it. Going to be a little bit of time here, though. They are going to be continuing this focus on towards the bottom lane. Coming in from behind is Yukino. I don't think you can dive Denethor when he's got this Thorn Mail completed. This seems dangerous, but instead they're just going to throw down the Rift Herald, and they're going to say, hey, you know what? Let's close out for the full 3-for-3 on the outer turrets. This dive is going to be successful for Winthrop, though. No chance for Bradley to stay alive.
Yeah.
They're going to try to focus on towards Denethor, though. They see all of the members top, and they say, hey, we can 1-for-1 this. Look at these knockups. Look at the chain CC. And Instinct comes up with the kill. Now Trevor mounting up on the Rift Herald to try to get this
that is a second
turret, and they might be able to get it with all of these Rift Grubs. Great damage there. Great gold for CCG, and they are able to come up ahead in the play.
All those little grubs able to push in down there in the bot lane, and they also are playing with a teleport in the back. Mobility so far ahead in the mid lane. They want to kill this AD carry in the mid lane. He has to run away.
In forward, there is going to be the collapse from Crimson. He wants to be able to take out Mobility here.
So
the distance, speed up and slow down might just be enough. Mobility throws down the hail of arrows to buy out the space, and Mobility will get away. Bradley on the cutoff, though. Gonna go in for Sword instead. Lands the Spiraling Despair. Flash away from Sword, but he's still so slow. Here comes Yukino in with the Cyclone. Landed it onto 2. But going to be getting away is Sword. He shockwaves Yukino back in. Now Yukino's the one who's low, and Mobility snipes him down. Winthrop University are trying to turn this play on its head, but they've got such low health bars. And Crimson is looking to equalize. He takes down Wukao. Denethor now perhaps up too far. Going to get engaged in this fight. Even Gromp's getting involved in this. Will he be able to get out in time? Absolutely not. Instinct rends him down.
And we may not talk about what Yukino did there, but at the end, it's 2 kills for the price of 1. Teleports all around the map. Crimson, Bradley, also Denethor trying to get in on the action, and there is advantages coming in from the side of CCG. But I like this sort of move coming in from both sides. They are not just allowing the other team to get an advantage. They are trying to find it for themselves, as Dragon is alive just now, and that means that we probably are going to get another fight unless they don't want to overly commit. But there is ultimate for the Nocturne.
A fight breaking out here. The focus is going to be on towards that Dragon. Looks like they will be able to secure this one, and CCG reprising their role from game number 1, looking at just a melt down 3 dragons in a row uncontested and threaten this soul. CCG making a little bit of damage happening onto Cookies. There's the ulti combo coming in onto Bradley. Bradley gonna end up falling down for it, but what about the follow-up fight? Instinct is very safe. Hook back in from Trevor will feed Instinct a second one, and Crimson's not done yet, or is he? He's gonna back away with the slice and dice and buy that extra space, but that's a win for CCG. They get themselves 2 kills for 1 and the Dragon to boot.
Exactly. Even though they get the kill onto Bradley, they are 4v5. In that whole ordeal, it was 4v5 because Denethor was not close. He didn't have teleport. He used it in the previous play, and he's not able to get onto anyone from the side of CCG. In comparison to having more members, they had the damage to blow up Chukis and blow up Wokao. They also get the Dragon, so everything is pretty much going in the favor of CCG, and it looks like it's going to keep on going this way until we see more item value on some of the members, or we see more of the combo that we were kind of expecting from Winthrop with Sword's ultimate, with Wokao's ultimate, with Chuki's ultimate. Everything combining there probably can be the difference maker in some of these team fights.
Certainly here. Fight. Could it be breaking out over this Baron once it spawns up? That's going to be, I think, the next focus. And Winthrop University, they've got to start feeling the pressure a little bit here from the lead that CCG have built up for themselves.
They are doing such a good job here, and I think, I'm actually not sure if I can confirm this or not because I was just checking on the side quickly, but I think Ole Miss did win. So Winthrop is not going to pull off the all collegiate final if CCG keeps on playing like this.
Yeah, I mean, they've got now the hopes and dreams of the CLOL community on their shoulders. Add that to the pressure of wanting to be able to walk away with an NACLQ title, wanting to avoid those choker allegations. struggling in this game number 2, where CCG find themselves so advantaged. They want themselves a date with Ole Miss tomorrow.
Ideally, they want to try and get it, and we also will have a great broadcast tomorrow over in the salty runback boat. I swear, there's too many salts on the names, but yeah, the salty runback, so you don't want to miss that. But for now, the semifinals still going on here. CCG is still doing an amazing job so far, and they are still doing something that they did in the previous game: side lane pressure with Crimson, with a really strong Renekton trying to push the issue on the side lane, trying to put pressure so that Winthrop has to think twice before responding on where they want to go.
All right, now setting up around the Baron once again. This is where the focus has got to reside. Here comes the ulti combo. They get onto Instinct. He's going to be the focus. He gets feared. He gets taken down by Sword. And they're going to tie up the kill score at 7-7 and make it a 5 versus 4 on the map with the Baron up for the taking.
And this is the play you want to pull up every time you see Instinct in a bad spot. Immediately going on to the Kalista, giving her no chance to actually escape. And that word right there is won as an MVP, because it has made a difference so many times. And a lot of damage onto Sword actually, but not going to be enough to get any kill. They get the turn in the mid lane, they get the kill onto the Kalista. It's not going to turn into a big objective though. And that's probably what CCG is more happy about. They are not going to lose anything big after that huge play coming in by Winthrop.
Oh, not too much big, but it's going to stop the snowball. 3K gold lead for CCG is where things will sit for now. 90 seconds to go until that potential soul will be available for CCG. Winthrop not going to be able to set up for the Baron other than by getting a boatload of vision up around that side of the map.
Trying to set up the control themselves. We have 1 minute or 1:10 before the dragon spawns. That's going to be soul once again, and importantly, that's going to be an important difference that we have to look forward to as a fight, because I don't think Winthrop wants to give it up again.
Oh, here's the combo. This time they get it on a 2. A beautiful knockup from Chookies will claim a double kill for Sword. As they're starting to march up towards the Baron, they see a chance to cement themselves back into this game. CCG down a bot lane are going to have to try to respond to this.
It has to be on the poke from Bradley. Yukino still has ultimate, so there is a chance here to actually pull it off, but they have to be smart about this. Still, they see Kalista, they kill Kalista. Oh, Yukino?
You know, coming in over the wall, needs to be able to threaten this steal, but he is getting focused down. He pops that Cyclone. They will be able to focus down Denethor. Spiraling Despair will get them 1 kill, but now Crimson flashes forward. It's 2 kills already to Bradley. Bradley gonna try to carry the fight, but he loses his top laner. He's got no more front line, but the Baron has been stopped. Instinct and Trevor are back up and alive, and they're marching towards the Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon up in 10 seconds. They have Kalista. That counts as a smite practically. That means that they are going to try and get this Dragon as soon as possible. Although Sword is TPing on the side, they maybe want to try and set up onto the Orianna, but I feel like they're missing out on their chance. Oh, flash from Sword at the very least. But this is still time for Wokout to come back. He has ultimate. He has everything to be able to stop this Dragon, and could be a difference maker here. Instinct starting it though.
All right. Potential fight gonna break out over the Dragon's Soul. Instinct is stacking up so many spears. There's going to be Trevor going in for the hook, stopping up Chookies. Instinct still stacking up spears, waiting for the TP. Yukino's not here yet though. They're gonna try to come up and steal. Here comes Chookies, here comes the ultimate from the Nocturne, but it goes down to Bradley. They will secure Dragon's Soul for CCG, and Trevor's gonna keep the fight going. Spell Shield from Wakao will get him out of here, but that's it for the fight. CCG, they get the objective they needed.
And actually Winthrop losing out on it, because Wokout flies over the Dragon thinking that it was going to be a misrent by Instinct, smites a bit too early, leaves the Dragon in just a tiny bit of health, and able to get it there. I would love to be able to be sure if it wasn't the Dragon resetting and messing up the smite from Wokout, or him thinking that it was going to be the misrent from Instinct into the smite combo. But at the end, it doesn't matter. Bradley securing the Dragon, crucially there, soul obtained for CCG, and even though there was a huge play in the mid lane that kind of set up for a potential Baron for Winthrop, because of everything that transpired, it just turns into a massive securing objective securing for the side of CCG.
Shout out to our boys at the Salt Mine coming in with the raid, as we are the final match being played for today's semifinals. Winner is looking for a date with Ole Miss in tomorrow's final. And CCG, with this soul, are going to hope it's enough to take them over the edge. This plus a 2K gold lead. Winthrop University still a bit of a hill to climb up.
Exactly. It's still quite a bit that we have to wait and see, but this does give CCG a good advantage to try and play with. It's not the game winning, don't get me wrong. I think that Infernal lost a bit of power compared to where he was before, and I think that this could be the difference maker, or not a difference maker big enough to actually put CCG over the edge. But it's still something to add up on, because for Bradley, the poke damage is going to matter. For Yukino, the extra damage to blow up the barriers is going to matter. So this could be something to keep our eyes out for. And Instinct has to be a bit more careful now when going into the mid lane, because he has died twice to the Orianna Nocturne combo. He has to be extra careful about this. Oh, walkout again.
Once again, this time trying to get on a 3. They get it onto Instinct. Instinct going to drop immediately, and Bradley is so far away from the action. He's just arriving now. Will it be enough to turn it back around? Chucky's going to be the first one to drop. Back in the front line is Crimson trying to fight his way out and buy space for the rest of the team. Hook goes wide from Trevor, not going to be able to lock anyone down, and it's a 1-for-1 when all is said and done, but it's Instinct for the support.
It's 1-for-1. I don't think that healing the support is going to be the same as killing the AD carry, but they are still looking for this quick hook, but it's not going to fight. Bradley's doing so much damage at this point.
Now Spiraling Despair gonna chunk out Denethor, even gonna get some triggers there on towards Mobility and Sword. They keep this siege going, even though it's a 1-for-1, where in theory Winthrop traded up. The damage threat that CCG brings to the table means that they are the ones who continue to have priority. They keep this push going, and even no mana Bradley is just slamming on this inner turret. He's gonna pick it up and take a path to safety with Trevor, but Trevor is recalling too far away. Oh my god, he gets out of it in time. He trusts the recall timer, and Trevor gets out with the skin of his teeth.
That has to be really unlucky there for Walkout. Not only does he pop the ultimate as the Bradley gets out of vision, but also Trevor backs out immediately. I think the shield actually saving him from getting stopped by Chukis. So all just working out much, much better for the side of CCG there. And now it's on what the next objective for both of these teams is going to be. Do you want to pressure onto the base from, oh, actually a play here on Denethor.
Crimson trying to lead the charge here, calling over Yukino to help out everybody from both teams. Sans Bradley is collapsing on this play. Look at that damage onto Denethor, though. He's trying to get himself out of here. The second Cyclone going to knock him up, but he stays standing. He stays walking away. Crimson's the one dying first. Crimson is going to stay alive. Crimson is going to claim 2 kills, and CCG come in with a full-fledged collapse. It's a double kill for Instinct before he drops down, and Sword is the only member left standing.
And Sword is not going to be enough to stop the CCG onslaught. That is a weird interaction. I think they want to move towards the Baron, but I'm not sure if they are going to be able to take him down just before Winthrop spawns. But a great play on the side lane, killing some of the members from Winthrop, trying to get even more control into the map, and they are going to go immediately for Baron Bob. Crucial to point out, though, they didn't use ultimate on Wokao. Still, and Sword's ultimate is going to come back really quickly. Denethor has teleport. This could still be something that Winthrop can fight for.
Well, definitely can be. Teleport being channeled. Denethor not dissuaded from getting picked off earlier. He is going to challenge this Baron buff. He's going to try to kidnap Yukino away. They're going to get that shockwave back in. He takes the lantern to get out to safety, and Denethor has to flash back over the wall. The teleport being channeled in for Crimson to be able to back up the rest of the team. Instinct is coming out of the base to be able to rejoin. And the recalls start being channeled. Nobody going to be fighting the purple worm this time.
2 ultimates popped, or 2 backs utilized there to take Trevor and Yukino back to base. They don't have teleport, so they have to be careful about how they approach this fight. Important to notice, though, Baron buff doesn't go down, and now 40 seconds for Elder. An objective that I would call game ending. So neither of this team wants to give up Elder when it comes up. Really need to look out for how the rest of the game goes. Also, looking at flashes. Instinct flashes down, Bradley flashes down. There's no flash on Trevor either. So a combo from Walkout Sword can be really, really threatening at this point.
Now, creeping up on the bottom side of the map. Elder Dragon gonna be up in 15 seconds. That can make a big difference for either team. Could be the comeback tool that Winthrop University needs.
Yukino?
Around at the bottom, yeah, like you said, Yukino. He's waiting on this flank. He wants to start off this fight if Winthrop overstep. And Bradley just layering down the traps, layering down the poke damage, getting these procs of the Infernal Soul. There's the combo. They're going for Bradley this time. He tries to jump out of safety, but he is going to get taken down. There's a big shutdown picked up for Macau. As the front to back is going to favor CCG. They're going to be able to take down Sword on the other side. It's a mid laner for mid laner and Denethor, just getting kited to hell by instinct. The dive into the backline from Yukino has found himself a kill on the mobility. And Wakao and Chookies try to get out of this and hold on to the game if they can. Chookies will get beaten down by Yukino, and the push through mid CCG, they want to take themselves to the promotion tournament right here, right now.
And Elder be damned, it's so a ploy to just set up the game-winning fight for CCG. Wakao is the only one alive, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to stop the onslaught from CCG. They want to secure a spot in the promotion tournament, and they are looking poised for it. Wakao more than likely dead, and I think this is game. Yeah, this is more than likely this game.
The whole minion wave, they're just working their way through these towers. It's 5 seconds left on Sword, and he's not gonna be here fast enough. CCG Esports, they want to date the promotion tournament, and they're going to get it 2-0 over Winthrop University.
2-0 for CCG. Throps are down, and it means that we have a final for tomorrow. No collegiate grand finals, still not enough to actually put themselves over everyone else in the mature scene. It's going to be CCG against Ole Miss, and I think it's going to be a great final with what we saw today. Both 2-0s from both of these teams, and in a BO5, anything can happen.
Absolutely. Throps are in today, TDS. No opportunity for Winthrop to fight for that first seed. And it all comes down to tomorrow. CCG versus Ole Miss will determine who is taking first seed of the promotion tournament. But the teams are now locked in. Lotus is eliminated with this win from CCG. It will be Winthrop University, Ole Miss, CCG, and Blue Otter in some order.
Exactly. We still have to define who gets the seeding advantage, but for a couple of these teams, importantly, Ole Miss and CCG are already there, so whoever wins actually secures first seed. Now it's defining who gets the lower seed, and I think whoever loses actually gets the lower seed. So the winner is first, the loser is fourth, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that definitely might be the case. I'm not going to try to do math on stream. I've learned my lesson on that many a time. Check out Grapes' Twitter. I'm sure Grapes will let you know what the impacts are going to be tomorrow before.
And tomorrow as well, since they have the finals.
Yeah, exactly. He'll know. He'll tell you. I promise you. He's been keeping track of all that stuff. His tweets are the only way I know what any of these results are going to mean for those finals and for that promotion tournament. You're going to be able to check him out and everybody else on their cast on the Salty Runback Twitch channel tomorrow, where they will be broadcasting the grand finals. Oh boy, what a tournament here, TDS, and it is all going to come down to CCG versus Ole Miss.
Exactly. It's been great so far, and I don't think anyone kind of called this grand final potentially. Maybe one of the two teams could have been up there, but not both. I think people had Winthrop there, people had Blue Water there with their performances before, but it's good to see that they are going to be, that they got a fight on them, right? That Winthrop wasn't just a straight up grand finalist, same for Blue Water. And I want to highlight a lot of the growth that we've seen from Ole Miss, because they were a team that kind of exponentially has been growing so far in both of the OQs, and closer they are inching to maybe showing what a lot of people were hyping up coming in from the collegiate scene. And now we get the chance to maybe see Shogo not only perform great in the grand finals, actually pull off in the promotion tournament, but on CCG a lot of the members want to return to the NACL scene as well. So it's going to be a great finals, and I hope to see a lot of these players shining there.
Yeah, I know. I cannot wait to start talking about this promotion tournament in a couple more weeks.
Gonna be fun.
This is going to be an absolute banger, setting up for the best season of NACL yet. But we've got some playoffs to finish out first. Check in tomorrow, like I said, on a Salty Runback for the last OQ final. And check on out NACL, of course, which are still in their own playoffs as well. I think that's going to do it for tonight's broadcast. Thank you all for hanging out with us here on Aegis. We are live every Friday night with the Aegis Champions League, the highest tier NA league for tier 3 talent that is not sponsored by Riot. You can come and check that out with TDS and I on any given week and see some of the top players who are looking to compete in this tournament as soon as they get the opportunity. And for now, we're going to send things off here. So for myself, from TDS, from Ivar on production, thanks again for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.
Other than that, there are some things that I really wanted to circle back around to. Dynasty Paradox 2-0 when you have a Swain.